Hi everyone. Today let's discuss about one of the most important system of our body, that is circulatory system, and let's have a brief look about heart. As we all know that heart is a muscular organ of our body, and this is the interior parts of heart, and it is present in the thoracic cavity, which is supported by the rib cage. And we all know that heart is in the size of our fist. Let's see about the parts of our heart. We have four chambers, that is two upper chambers and two lower chambers, and two in the if we divide it in another part, then we have two chambers in right side and two chambers in the left side, and the upper chambers are called as atrium and lower chambers are called as ventricles. And there is right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. Right atrium is the chamber which is present in the right upper corner of heart. Here in this diagram, this is the right atrium which is present in the right upper corner of the whole heart. And when it's coming to the left ventricle is present below the right ventricle, and it is the lower right chamber of heart. Left atrium is present in the left upper corner of the heart. Here this is the left atrium, and left ventricle is present below the left atrium, which is the lower chamber of heart. And there are some muscular ridges, there are some muscular septa which separates the chambers, and this is very important because the heart separates the oxygenated blood from the deoxygenated blood, and the septa plays a very important role in separation of oxygenation and deoxygenated blood. And the septa which is present between the atria are called as interatrial septum, and the septum which is present between the ventricles is called as interventricular septum. Here this is the interventricular septum, and interventricular septum is much thicker when compared with the interatrial septum. And also there are some septa which separates the atria from the ventricles, and this is called as atrioventricular septum. And there is one septa which separates the right atrium and right ventricle. In the same way, there is one septa which separates the left atrium from the left ventricle. These are the atrioventricular septum. And now let's look at the layers of heart. There are actually three layers of heart, and the layer which is present in the outside is called as epicardium, and the one which is present in the middle is called as myocardium, and the layer which is present inside is called as endocardium. Now let's look at the valves of heart. Valves are nothing but they are cusp-like structures which is present in the heart, which help us to flow the blood only in the one direction. These prevent the blood to flow in opposite direction. This is a very important function of valves of heart. And the valves which are present between right atrium and right ventricle is called as tricuspid valve. Tricuspid means tri means three, cusps means there are cusp-like structure, so it is called as tricuspid valve, or also called as right atrioventricular valve. And it helps to flow the blood only in the one direction, that is from the right atrium to the right ventricle. Similarly, we have another valve which is present between the left atrium and left ventricle. It is called as bicuspid valve or left atrioventricular valve. It is called as bicuspid because it has two cusps. Similarly, we have pulmonary valve which is present between right ventricle and pulmonary artery, so this will be the direction of blood here, and this is called as pulmonary valve. And similarly here there is another valve which is present between the left ventricle and aorta. This is called as aortic valve, and this will be the direction of blood from left ventricle to the aorta. And so these are the valves of heart. So now let's discuss about the direction of flow of blood in heart. First of all, heart right atrium gets deoxygenated blood from all over the body through the superior vena cava, which is present above the right ventricle, and inferior vena cava, which is present below the right ventricle. And from these to vena cava, it receives the whole deoxygenated blood which is present in the body, and it enters into the right atrium which is present in the right upper corner of heart. And from there, with the through tricuspid valve, this deoxygenated blood enters into the right ventricle, and from there this deoxygenated blood enters into the pulmonary artery and into the lungs. So here there will be the lungs. Here the deoxygenated blood enters into the lungs, and now in lungs the oxygenation of blood takes place. So after converting the deoxygenated blood into oxygenated blood, now the oxygenated blood enters into the pulmonary veins, and from here these are the pulmonary veins, and from pulmonary veins they enter into the left atrium, and from left atrium with the bicuspid valve they enter into the left ventricle, and from there with the help of through aortic valve they enter into the aorta and through the different parts of the body. So this will be the direction of flow of blood in heart. So that's it about the brief introduction about the heart. Thank you.